Gun out. Okay, put the gun, aim at the suspect. Aim at him. That's it. Watch him. A little high. Good. This shot was a good one.
You and your partner have stopped 3 suspicious subjects. You will cover your partner as he searches them.
Keep in mind, he's a suspicious subject.
All right, get your hands up. Get your hands up. I just need that wagon.
Well, they haven't done anything yet. Just keep your eye on him. He's going to check him for weapons.
Cover your eyes, Richard.
Go to the left, shoot again. Good. Second shot was a good hit.
His name is Jerry Moore. He wears badge number 313. He is part doctor, lawyer, and someday he would like to be police chief. But that is several thousand red lights away right now. His only concern on this dreary February day is directing traffic well enough so that no one will know that this is his first day on the job. This really was not the beginning, though. But nobody but the sergeant on the corner and Jerry Moore knows that. It was that bright October day when he came to the police academy to trade his civilian clothes for a cadet uniform. These rookies had already made the grade on 8 different tests, physicals, exams, and interviews just to get a seat on opening day. Only 5% of the men who apply ever make it. Admission is by invitation only, and while many are called by recruiting posters, few are chosen. It wasn't always this way, though. Officer Dwight Josephs, who will shepherd this flock of rookies through the next 4 months, recalls a half-century of changing times in the police department.
Well, 50 years ago, if a man was big enough, could drink enough, could carry a big club, he could be a police officer. After about 15 minutes instruction, he was put on the street with a helmet, a badge, a gun, and a club, and told to take care of his district. They didn't want to hear from him until the end of his tour of duty. Today, at this academy, we have approximately 17 weeks of instruction, 626 hours of intensive training. After this period, they go through a 30-day coaching period where they're with an older officer as an observer, and then they do the work, and the older officer reports back to the academy on their progress. They're also on a year's probation time, which means that any time prior to that year being up, they can be dismissed on departmental charges.
The man who will make those charges, if he finds a bad apple in the bunch, is Safety Director Fred Simon. He reminds them that from this day forward, they will speak with great authority. Who will make those charges, if he finds a bad apple in the bunch, is Safety Director Fred Simon. He reminds them that from this day forward, they will speak with great authority.
When a police patrolman speaks, as far as the public is concerned, it might as well be the chief of police speaking. There is no other field of endeavor where this holds true. But your position gives you that responsibility. So I admonish you that you will conduct yourself henceforth as police officers, giving the dignity, carrying the responsibility that the uniform demands. For if you will not, or if you do not, then we, the executive and the chief and your fellow police officers, will not tolerate it, and then we will take whatever action is necessary.
Starts every morning at 7:45 when sleepy eyelids snap to attention at roll call. Shortly after the flag reaches the top, The recruits start their daily ups and downs, known to servicemen as PT, physical training alias calisthenics. This early morning huff and puff routine has been known to separate some cadets from the academy in the first few days, but it's good practice for the arm-waving and dodgem game they'll have to play in the middle of intersections later on. Muscle still is part of every policeman's job, but not as much as it used to be. Cadet Frank Groves, a lightweight under 6 feet, knows that better than the rest. He comes from a long line of policemen.
My grandfather, he was a police officer, and my great-grandfather was a police officer. And these were big men. They were 6'4", 6'5". And when a man looks at a man who is 6'4" and 6'5", he figures he is strong-armed. And back then, I guess maybe he had to be a little bit strong-armed. But anymore, I think it's a little bit more brain work involved.
Of course, enough to protect yourself. Nothing more. And then go behind him.
Muscle still counts, however, but it's knowing which muscle to use. It's called judo. Liniment will be used by the gallon tonight, and they'll complain about aching backs in the morning. But the pain of learning will pay off some night in a dark alley. Toughening up can be a good-natured knocking around in the ring, courtesy of a classmate.
Go, Jerry. Come on, Jerry, keep it up.
Your right guard doesn't help a bit here. The sweat still streams down cheeks that may show up colorful and ouchy the next day.
When you fire a shotgun, the first thing you do is throw another shell into it. Remembering, of course, with this special weapon, to keep your finger off the trigger in between shots.
A policeman is taught lots of things he hopes he'll never have to know, like how to fire a riot shotgun.
I'm going to hit you where? Right in the soft part of your guts. If you ever have to shoot at anybody with a shotgun, there's only one place to aim, and that's for the body. It's possible to injure or kill a person at 200 yards.
As the guns kick and the blast punctures the cardboard man at the other end of the target range, the rookies find out what a deadly weapon they hold in their hands. It's not a nice thing to know, but it may be a necessary one if the time ever comes. A time of destruction, fire, and death came to many riot-racked American cities last year. It caught most unprepared and unable to handle the crisis. Nobody thought of training to fight a civil war before. Now, everybody is thinking about it. In Columbus, the rookie now spends 40 class hours on mob control. In white helmets with bayonet-tipped riot guns at the ready, they run through formations designed to cope with rioters. One of the big riot problems is the sniper. Every 5 minutes, a hidden sniper fires a pot shot at the cadets, and they scatter to practice search and capture tactics. Part of the psychology is to scare the mob, to make the policeman's bark at least as strong as his bite. And so it may come as a surprise that the policeman, even at the risk of his own life, is sworn to protect every citizen.
Every person in the United States, regardless of citizenship, has the right to demonstrate peaceably. And it's our job to protect both the demonstrators as long as they are peaceful and the general public if the demonstration becomes anything other than peaceful, and to remain absolutely neutral about the issue and not become involved in the issue. It's very difficult to appear to be neutral. For example, almost any action a police officer takes could be construed as being on one side or the other, but his main purpose is to remain neutral. By law, we must read the so-called Riot Act, which calls for the people to disperse, and it notifies them that their assembly is unlawful and that they should either go to their homes or places of business. And if they don't do so, they will be placed under arrest. And this is the reading of the Riot Act. After it is read, then we will wait a certain period of time for the people to respond and go.
The best way to break up a mob is still the time-honored tear gas bomb. So they will know just how the guy on the receiving end of tear gas feels. The cadets spend an afternoon opening up their sinuses the hard way. The teachers go through it too. And later, with a chorus of coughing in the background, Instructor Josephs takes a deep breath and explains what the gas does.
Tear gas itself causes an instantaneous surface reaction. You get a burning sensation. Your eyes will water. Your nose will run. You get a real burning in your eyes. It causes a temporary blindness. Any moist portions of your body start burning rapidly until you are removed to fresh air, and then the effects usually leave right away.
Mask. Once you remove your mask, all you have to do is say Cadet Brown.
The grand finale comes when they march them off to the gas chamber, which is a little boarded-up house filled to the brim with a misty fog. Getting in is easy. It's getting out that makes every man a crybaby.
Walk right on around. Right on around. Okay, is anybody having any trouble with the mask? Your tears, any tears, or anything of that sort? Woo! That ever hurt? Burns more on my face than it does on my eyes.
He's not breathing. I check his mouth. I breathe for him 5 times. I then check his neck. He has no pulse. He has no pupillary action of the eyes. I get the top notch.
The policeman is a lifeline. He stands between you and death every day. Here in a heart massage class, he is taught that he literally holds life in his hands as he pumps to the beat of a failing heart.
65 to 70 times a minute. The compressions, and the other man will be holding the mask on the face, and it will aerate the patient.
The rookie goes through 47 hours of first aid instruction, most of it aimed at saving a life in those precious few minutes before they arrive at the emergency room.
They'll have everything that the older man has except experience, which is the most important factor, maybe. You have a doctor. The doctor comes and teaches obstetrics and teaches them how to deliver a baby. And they are instructed in the procedures in delivering children. I never delivered anything. There are a lot of police officers that have delivered babies. And it's really not much of a job. The woman does most of the work.
Most mothers would agree with that. The life and death situation that most of the public pictures a policeman in is the scene where he has his gun drawn in a showdown with a robber. Rookie Paul Bryant used to think of it that way.
Well, maybe as a youngster I did look at it as a cops and robbers. I don't think anyone relishes the idea of having someone shoot at them or actually having to shoot at someone. But I believe that more of the image of a public servant is what interests me.
What do they tell you about shooting when you take out your gun when you're a policeman? How do they train you here?
To use it and use it well, but never use it unless it is a matter of life and death.
Life and death situations come to life on a motion picture pistol range, and it's up to the cadet to decide in a split second who lives and who dies.
Lot near the airport, where complaints of recent robberies have been reported.
This is a stakeout. Keep your weapon in your holster until you have a reason to draw. That's the taxpayer there. Watch him. Sets a stick up. Good shot. That was a good shot.
You, along with other officers, ADT men, and a night watchman, are searching a warehouse for a burglar. He may be armed.
When you have your weapon in your hand, keep it up. Raise pistol. Now, you've got other people in the building, so be careful. You have ADT men and other officers in the building, night watchmen also. Make sure of what you're shooting at. All right, watch him now. Watch him. Okay, he's unarmed. He's unarmed. Good. Good.
An armed and dangerous subject who recently shot a bank guard during a stick-up has barricaded himself in a deserted building. You, along with other officers, are attempting to capture him.
Now, this man's a fellow. Have your gun out. Watch the window and the door. Good shot. That was a good head.
The subject getting out of this car may draw a gun. Start your draw when he makes any suspicious movement.
Now, leave your weapon in your holster till he makes a suspicious movement. He didn't come out of the car with anything, so watch his hand. Very good for a gun. Leave hold to your weapon.
All the shoot-'em-up, knock-'em-down training a cadet gets must be measured against the hundreds of textbook hours he spends in the classroom. He pores over law books, studies court decisions, and weighs the social problems facing society. The old police saying is, an officer makes a decision in a second. The lawyers have months to declare it right or wrong. But the training is designed to make a thinking man of him. He is not the dumb cop of the comic strip. He doesn't claim to be an intellectual Socrates, but he daily deals with sophisticated philosophical dilemmas. And he is expected to come up with Solomon-like answers or face the public wrath for failing. Among his other current problems is walking a tightrope where constitutional rights are concerned. Cadet William Chapelier feels they have learned their lesson.
We learn the Constitution. I don't believe any cadet in this class has a feeling of superiority to anybody, although it's nice to feel this way in your certain professions. But I believe that we are taught, if everybody was taught as well as we are about equal rights, I don't believe there would be any problems.
The police are not out to give people a hard time. They have it tough enough without going out of their way. The cadet practices making arrests, and he is taught that he does not make the laws. He only enforces them. It's a lesson most citizen violators forget when they're waved to the side of the road and asked for their driver's license. They deal with people who are in trouble. That leaves little time for passing the pleasantries of the day. But courtesy is the concrete rule they are taught to keep.
Sir, the platoon is ready for inspection.
What would be your assignment?
22 relief shooter second.
The verdict is ready. Ready to go out on the streets and start learning all over again. From now on, each day will be a new lesson in life.
I don't know, sir.
What's 10-3?
10-3, sir. Is an officer in trouble, sir.
On a bright, cold day in February, cadet life comes to an unofficial end.
For some time now, it's been a tradition that on the last reveille, we burn these caps, and everybody seems to be in agreement. Those of you that do not want to burn your cap, this is fine also. If you want to say the patch, tear them off now.
From this class comes 2 Arlington policemen. In other classes are cadets from many suburbs. Columbus trains them, and they come because this is recognized as one of the best police academies in the nation. This isn't goodbye to the training school, though. They'll be coming back again and again for refresher courses to be brought up to date on later techniques. But this is the last time they'll have to wear the rookie blues, and they're caught up in the burning enthusiasm of the moment. Graduation day is like being ordained or married. It is the beginning of a lifelong obligation that carries with it an almost mystic devotion to serving their fellow man. Now, with the badge and in uniform, they march before their proud mothers, fathers, and wives. Safety Director Simon reminds them that the uniform changes everything.
With this uniform, you are no longer an individual. You are a member of a group of men that will be singled out on any occasion that you are present, whether you are in a uniform or out of uniform. You are a police officer.
Mayor Sensenbrenner is almost lost for words as he rises to address the 37 new officers. But he does all right, even without the
young
dictionary.
man, Webster never defined a word that could say thanks large enough for choosing police work as your profession, because it is an honorable profession. And the only thing I have to say to you, Mayor of Columbus, boy, don't take any chances. No, law is on your side. And your life is more important than any bird that wants to violate the laws of this great city. And that applies to the state and the nation. You are more important than those people who want to take law and order into their own hands. And you're going to have some mountains to climb, but be sure that decisions you make are honorable, that they're just, be fair to all people.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution.
That I will support the Constitution.
Of the United States
The final
of America.
commitment, the last separation from civilian life, comes with the oath of office.
Gentlemen, under the authority invested in me by the Charter of the City of Columbus, I declare you duly installed.
Captain Earl Burden has the last word in this story of what lies ahead for the newest members of the force. He tells the wives about the future for their husbands.
He must have the mind of a lawyer, the soul of a clergyman, the heart of a social worker, the discipline of a Marine sergeant, the integrity of a saint. He must believe in the goodness of man while seeing man most often at his worst. This is what's now expected of your husbands. I think they're completely capable men. I think that as nearly as anyone, they can live up to what's expected of them. But they will need your help. You know, if they have to work those midnight hours, get home at 7 o'clock in the morning, take an hour's nap, and go back to court at 9. But, or perhaps get off, go to work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when your children are just coming home from school. They see your children on weekends, and that's about all. You're going to have to exercise patience and be aware of his problems, because he will have them.
There he stands, a guardian at the gates, defending you from civilization's ills and evils. He is expected to be all things to all men, but he is only a man himself, capable of honor and error. Now he is the man behind the badge, but his shield of authority is no greater than the support you give him.